Dwarf forms such as this little princess and witch's brooms, which I'll come to shortly, will often benefit from quite substantial pruning in the first few years of their life. And with hard pruning over several years, this is going to encourage the plant to produce a typical sort of squash donut shape early on in its life. Although most of the growth now is very short and stubby, there's still a few long shoots that would need to be pruned back. This young plant of Little Princess is 2 years old, and it's a common misconception that dwarf plants produce dwarf growth. Well, they don't. They're actually quite vigorous, certainly for the first few years, and left to their own devices without any pruning, you're going to get a lot of short stubby growth, sort of bunches all the way round, so we're not really going to get the shape we saw in the larger plant earlier. Now this is a stick budded graft, and the original skein was from there up to there. Now it's been pruned quite heavily last year. That's encouraged a lot of shoots, so we've now got a framework in which we can work on. We now need to trim to an imaginary line. It can be cut back quite hard. In fact, for this plant I'm going to take it back to perhaps 2 pairs of buds on each of the main shoots. This is going to encourage even more growth, possibly some more pruning to be done next year, but by then we will have a fairly dense, compact plant. Very little annual growth each year because there's masses and masses of terminal buds for the energy to be dissipated through. Okay, so we've now got this trimmed up, we've gone back to this fairly dense shape. There are still 1 or 2 gaps here and there, but it's still a young plant, so in subsequent years we're going to start filling out those empty spaces. Really it's just a continuation of what we've been doing last winter and now, to endeavour to get a fairly compact plant as quickly as possible.